January 2025. We will witness a detailed analysis of the successful repulsion of a major Russian offensive in the Siversky direction. As the enemy advances toward the village with armored vehicles, they are closely monitored by the Ukrainian defensive line. Russian forces enter the area with MTLB armored vehicles and continue their push forward. Although the road is lined with mine barriers, the first MTLB manages to pass without triggering one. The second MTLB, however, hits a mine, but the first continues advancing. At this point, anti-tank systems engage and strike the advancing MTLB. Despite the hit, the Russian armored vehicle continues moving. An FPV drone is deployed to attack, but even after this strike, the MTLB keeps going. Heavy bombardment drones are then prepared for another attack. The MTLB eventually halts and begins unloading its personnel. At this moment, the heavy bombardment drones target the drop-off points, delivering highly effective strikes, particularly using 2-kilogram anti-personnel munitions. The bombardment drone performs exceptionally well, neutralizing the invading forces. A group of Russian infantry reaches the defensive line and engages in direct combat, launching grenades and even attempting to throw an anti-tank mine into a defensive position. However, the Ukrainian defense forces respond swiftly, overwhelming the enemy with counterattacks. As the intense firefight continues, artillery support is unavailable due to the close proximity of friendly forces to the enemy. Following their failed assault, the Russian infantry decides to retreat. Their movement is significantly slowed by barbed wire obstacles, which are particularly effective during winter and night operations. The enemy tries to cross the wire using wooden planks. Meanwhile, artillery fire can be seen in the area. These are Russian artillery strikes. The Ukrainian army avoids using its own artillery in such situations to prevent endangering its troops. At this point, Ukrainian FPV drones are deployed, successfully striking and wounding Russian infantry. Shortly after, a Vampire drone arrives and launches its first attack. Consecutive bomb drops and FPV strikes eliminate all Russian infantry in the area. The remaining members of the Russian group stay further back, away from the main combat zone. However, Ukrainian forces detect these troops as well. The Russian soldiers are then eliminated with FPV drone strikes. By the end of the day, Ukrainian forces successfully repel the attack, neutralizing 30 enemy personnel and 5 armored vehicles. Throughout the battle, the coordinated efforts of aerial drone support and defensive units played a crucial role in ensuring the failure of the Russian assault. March 2025. Ukrainian paratroopers of the 95th Air Assault Brigade detect Russian mechanized units in the Kursk region and launch a major operation. Russian forces enter the area with armored vehicles, but Ukrainian troops swiftly counterattack, targeting these vehicles. As a result of the inflicted damage, the vehicles are forced to stop and the Russian personnel inside dismount. However, Ukrainian forces seize the opportunity to launch a second assault, neutralizing both the vehicles and the Russian infantry accompanying them. Following the attack, the remaining armored vehicles are destroyed one by one. Some surviving Russian infantrymen attempt to flee to different locations in the area. However, Ukrainian forces continue the pursuit, eliminating them one by one and solidifying the operation's success. These Russian troops have no chance of escape due to Ukraine's effective tracking strategy. Some Russian infantry seek shelter in the ruins of a village, but they are soon detected and struck by Ukrainian drone operators. This highlights Ukraine's superior aerial capabilities, as drone strikes leave no safe haven for Russian forces and determine the outcome of the operation. Ultimately, Ukrainian troops repel the Russian assault, secure the area, and successfully defend their position. This operation, carried out with both ground forces and aerial support, demonstrates the highly integrated and effective nature of Ukraine's military strategy. March 4, 2025. In Shcherbakivka, Kharkiv region, Ukrainian reconnaissance teams detect Russian positions and relay their coordinates to higher command. Once the location data is verified, Ukrainian forces launch a pre-planned operation. The Russian positions in the area come under heavy artillery fire and kamikaze drone strikes. As explosions shake the front lines, Russian troops suffer heavy losses, and some soldiers are forced to abandon their positions. Cut off from support and unable to retreat, some Russian infantrymen attempt to survive by infiltrating and hiding in various structures within the area. However, Ukrainian forces, leveraging prior intelligence and advanced tracking systems, monitor enemy movements step by step. Using drones and thermal imaging systems, they scan the area, pinpointing the hidden Russian soldiers and conducting precision strikes. As a result of the successful attacks, all Russian infantry in the region are neutralized, solidifying Ukrainian control over Sherbakivka. March 4, 2025. In the Kursk direction of the Donetsk region, 2 Ukrainian soldiers from the 12th Azov Special Forces Brigade of the Ukrainian National Guard encounter a Russian soldier while on patrol. The Russian soldier cautiously moves through a barbed wire enclosed area, unaware that a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone is tracking him from above. As the drone records his every move, the Ukrainian infantrymen observe him from a distance. It remains unclear why the Russian soldier is in the area, whether he is conducting reconnaissance, inspecting positions, or carrying out an operation. However, Ukrainian forces perceive his presence as a potential threat and continue to monitor him closely. Shortly after, the Ukrainian soldiers decide to act before the situation escalates further. They carefully emerge from their positions, take precise firing stances, and launch a sudden attack. Caught in intense gunfire, the Russian soldier is unable to flee or retaliate and is fatally shot on the spot. With the confrontation over, Ukrainian forces continue to secure the area, ensuring its safety. March 4, 2025. Reports indicate that Russia is facing severe logistical challenges which have become a key factor influencing the course of the conflict. Ukrainian forces are exploiting these weaknesses by inflicting significant damage on Russian convoys using FPV drones. These drones, capable of highly precise attacks and extremely cost-effective, have emerged as a formidable threat, successfully penetrating Russian defense lines. FPV drone strikes are disrupting Russian supply routes, further exposing the logistical difficulties faced by the Russian military. Footage from the battlefield highlights Russia's attempts to defend its logistical corridors, particularly in the area stretching from Bakhmut to Chasiv Yar. The Russians have deployed net structures designed to counter drone attacks. However, the long-term effectiveness of these measures remains questionable. While such defenses may provide temporary protection, they may not be a sustainable solution against Ukraine's low-cost yet highly effective weaponry, such as FPV drones. Ultimately, these developments underscore the vulnerabilities in Russia's logistics and defense systems, while also highlighting Ukraine's strategic advantage in deploying modern drone warfare. FPV drones have proven to be a serious threat to Russian forces, significantly impacting their supply chains. As a result, Ukraine's tactical use of these drones is being considered a game-changing move in the war. In response, Russia is likely to intensify its efforts to develop more effective countermeasures against this emerging threat. March 4, 2025. Drone pilots from the 5th Special Forces Omega Detachment detect a Russian infantryman during a reconnaissance mission in a wooded area. The Russian soldier is lying motionless on the ground while the surroundings are carefully observed. Footage reveals another Russian soldier lying nearby, partially covered. Although the first detected soldier attempts to conceal himself, small but critical details like this do not escape the attention of experienced observers. Had he moved without covering himself, he might not have become such an obvious target. However, this mistake proves fatal, leaving the soldiers defenseless against Ukraine's precision strike capabilities. The Ukrainian drone operator releases a bomb onto the detected target. The explosion instantly kills both Russian soldiers, shattering the eerie silence of the forest. This precise strike leaves a lasting impact on the Russian infantry in the area, once again demonstrating Ukraine's advanced strategy in target identification and effective drone warfare. Drones have become an invaluable tool for Ukraine in such operations, while posing a major threat to Russian forces. These targeted strikes symbolize a significant strategic shift in the nature of warfare. March 5, 2025. The 13th Charter. Brigade of the National Guard completes its preparations for a major operation in the Kharkiv region. After identifying Russian positions in the area, Ukrainian forces make a strategic decision to deploy their infantry using a vehicle. The entire operation is recorded in real time using a GoPro camera, capturing both the details of the military engagement and the intensity of the battle. The footage shows Ukrainian infantry rapidly advancing toward the Russian position after disembarking from the vehicle and launching their attack within moments. The assault begins swiftly and effectively, yet the confrontation soon evolves into a challenging tactical engagement. The video highlights the determined advance of Ukrainian troops and their precise targeting of weak points in the Russian defense line. As the battle unfolds, the available footage does not provide a clear outcome. However, reports from the area confirm that the operation was a success, with all Russian soldiers in the vicinity neutralized and the Russian defense line largely dismantled. This victory demonstrates the effectiveness of Ukraine's military strategy and its growing superiority over Russian forces. March 6, 2025. The 5th Assault Brigade achieves a significant development in the Kramatorsk region of Donetsk. After spotting a Russian soldier in the area, Ukrainian forces arrive at the location using a civilian vehicle. Despite the tense atmosphere of war, the Russian soldier offers no resistance. Instead of engaging in combat, he chooses to surrender to the Ukrainian troops. This decision may be influenced by psychological factors, as the harsh realities of war and mental exhaustion are known to drive soldiers toward surrender. The Ukrainian infantry disembarks with professionalism, cautiously approaching the Russian soldier and maintaining strict security measures. They communicate effectively with him before securing his hands and escorting him safely into the vehicle. Ukrainian forces then proceed with his evacuation, reporting the operation as successfully completed. It is believed that the soldier's surrender may have been triggered by harsh weather conditions and extreme mental fatigue. Separated from his unit, his survival instincts and the difficult circumstances likely led him to give up. This event highlights the psychological dimensions of warfare, demonstrating how the relentless nature of battle profoundly affects soldiers' mental states. March 6, 2025. The reconnaissance unit of the NGU Azov 12th Brigade launches a significant operation near Turets in the Donetsk region. This meticulously planned operation aims to clear the area of Russian forces and ensure security. The reconnaissance team searches villages one by one, identifying and neutralizing potential threats. Every village is examined as a possible danger source, but Ukrainian forces swiftly and effectively eliminate these threats. During the operation, Ukrainian soldiers achieve remarkable success. 50 Russian infantrymen are neutralized, demonstrating the efficiency and precision of the operation. Additionally, dozens of civilians in the area are safely evacuated. The protection of civilians remains a top priority in such military operations, and Ukrainian forces maintain a successful balance between military effectiveness and civilian safety. This operation highlights Ukraine's attention to both military strategy and humanitarian assistance. Considering the impact of the conflict on civilians, the humanitarian aspect of the operation is handled effectively. March 2025. The Ukrainian Luhansk Border Guard detachment detects Russian forces advancing towards Kupiansk and swiftly mobilizes for an operation. The Russian units are often scattered in separate groups, making them easier targets for Ukraine's unmanned aerial vehicles. These UAVs pinpoint the locations of Russian forces, shaping Ukraine's operational strategy. At the outset of the operation, FPV drones are deployed. These drones precisely identify and strike Russian infantry, rapidly breaking their resistance. Some Russian soldiers attempt to take shelter inside village houses, but these structures fail to provide sufficient protection. Ukrainian forces launch drone attacks on these buildings, neutralizing both the houses and the Russian infantry inside. Following these strikes, Russian reinforcements are deployed using personnel carrier vehicles. However, these vehicles lack adequate protection against drone attacks. Ukrainian drone operators displaying high precision eliminate these transport vehicles. Some surviving Russian infantry retreat into nearby forests, but Ukraine's advanced tracking and attack tactics prevent them from escaping. Russian troops try to camouflage themselves within the wooded areas, but the dry trees fail to provide effective cover. Ukrainian drones exploit this weakness, eliminating the remaining Russian forces one by one. By the end of the operation, all Russian infantry in the area are neutralized and security is fully restored. March 2025. The Ukrainian 57th Motorized Brigade detects Russian infantry scattered and exhausted near Vovchansk. The harsh conditions of war have left these soldiers physically and mentally drained. With no secure locations in the area, the Russian troops have collapsed onto the ground merely to rest, completely defenseless and fatigued. This situation presents an opportunity for the Ukrainian forces. Seizing the enemy's moment of weakness, Ukrainian operators systematically target and neutralize these Russian infantrymen one by one, executing the operation slowly and methodically. While this operation may seem ruthless, it is one of the harsh realities of war. In a combat zone, prioritizing humanitarian emotions can lead to strategic vulnerability. Ukrainian forces assess that leaving these soldiers unchecked could pose a future threat during ongoing patrol operations. Therefore, neutralizing them is deemed a necessary step for Ukraine's security and operational success. Humanitarian sentiments on the battlefield often become obstacles to achieving strategic objectives. For a soldier, emotional weakness can be a severe threat in the struggle for survival. Aware of these challenges, Ukrainian troops operate with maximum efficiency under the brutal conditions of war. Despite the immense psychological toll and hardships faced by all combatants, this operation is viewed as an essential action for survival and victory. March 2025. The Ukrainian Arkan UAV unit, part of the 108th Battalion of the 10th Mountain Assault Brigade, quickly mobilizes after detecting Russian infantry in the Siversk region. To eliminate the target, Ukrainian forces deploy a strike drone to the area. The drone hits its designated point with pinpoint accuracy, and the force of the explosion severely injures the Russian troops, leaving them immobilized on the ground. The operation does not end there. To ensure that the target is completely neutralized, Ukrainian forces deploy a second drone. This second strike directly hits the target, causing another powerful explosion. As a result, 2 Russian infantrymen are killed. This operation once again demonstrates the effectiveness of unmanned aerial vehicles on the battlefield. The Arkan UAV team's precision strikes significantly limit the movement capabilities of Russian forces in the area, providing a crucial advantage to Ukrainian troops.